10 years ago, our country suffered through the worst bushfire tragedy in its recorded history. 173 people lost their lives and over 400 were injured. Regional Australia suffered millions of dollars worth of damage, and many of the affected areas are yet to recover. Every subsequent year since then has seen the average temperature soar, and we have suffered a drought that has increased the strain on our emergency services and their ability to respond to these catastrophes. The last fire season was the most devastating in our history, destroying 46 million acres of bushland, 5,900 buildings, killing an estimated 1 billion animals and resulting in a cost of upwards of $4.4 billion. The only defence our country has against these regular and increasingly severe disasters are our firefighters, and the only barrier between them and the many hazards they face on a day-to-day basis is their equipment. The risks to our firefighting professionals are well known to us, as we've all lived in these bushfire-prone areas our entire lives. One of our own team members, Michael, is himself a volunteer with the Country Fire Authority. Despite extensive training and robust protective equipment, fires and dangers caused by fires can and have taken the lives of our emergency workers as recently as the last fire season. 2 New South Wales Rural Fire Service volunteers were tragically killed when a fire-damaged branch dislocated and landed on the cab of their truck. To this end, Manufacturing Concepts proposes a system for the additional protection of fire truck cabs from large falling objects. Protecting our firefighters from any hazard not only safeguards them and their families from tragedy, but it bolsters our state and country's ability to respond and protect from these disasters.
The loss of 2 volunteer firefighters who died last night while fighting a blaze southwest of Sydney represents a grim new low point in the current bushfire emergency.
It completely guts you, but not only a fatality, a double fatality, depriving us of 2 extraordinary individuals.
Fire services all around Australia and abroad have looked into many different ways to try and reduce the risk. Here in Victoria, the CFA has introduced hazardous tree awareness course, which every firefighter needs to complete. FFMV, Forest Fire Management Victoria, have created a custom solution called AFOPS, Falling Object Protection System, which is being installed on their new firefighting vehicles, the G-Wagon and the Unimog, where it works well. But for the majority of firefighting vehicles in Victoria, they'll need to have a retrofitted solution. Manufacturing Concepts have developed AFOPS, Adaptable Falling Object Protection System, which is a passive solution for the protection of firefighters and firefighting vehicles. The semi-fixed frame is constructed from readily available 1020 steel, square hollow sections, and bespoke machine components assembled and welded to each vehicle. The front would be attached to the main structure of the cab chassis, and the back would be attached to the roll bar, where it would have a pin joint. The biggest restriction we have is the cab is required to tilt forward for maintenance. We have created a way for the back to be attached to the roll bar with a pin joint, which would be easily disconnectable for this purpose. The design incorporates cross beams, which would strengthen the AFOPS, so it would be able to cope with an impact from a falling tree branch weighing up to half a tonne.
The obvious benefit of this project is the mitigation of risks faced by firefighters on the field and increased safety for service workers and the vehicles they utilise. Looking further, we believe that this increased safety will have the effect of increasing volunteer retention through a reduction in injuries, as well as increasing vehicle lifespan by preventing irreparable damage to the vehicles. This ensures that the fire service will remain as effective as it possibly can be at all times. The next step forward for this project would be to produce a physical prototype for testing purposes. We would need to acquire a decommissioned vehicle with which to perform these tests. After initial testing and necessary design changes, we could then have the product tested under real conditions by a local fire brigade. If these tests turn out well, we could then start into a full rollout of the product, first across Victoria and then throughout the rest of Australia. There are over 600 trucks currently in service in Victoria, which would be compatible with the system that we have designed, and many more that could be included with some small modifications to the design. These are the models most commonly sent regionally and interstate on mobile strike teams, which puts them in situations where they would be the most at risk to the dangers that we are trying to prevent. We believe that the system that we have designed could and should be implemented on a national level.